Hi, my name is Adam Rowe, and I'm the student ministry pastor for the Wilmington campus, and it is my privilege and honor to get to share with you a bit today. So I wanted to start with something that might seem a little bit simple, but the fact is I am a Rowe. And let me tell you what I mean by that. What I mean is more than just the last name on my license, more than just the fact that I was always at the end of the attendance roster or that I sat with the R's and the S's and the T's in homeroom. What I mean is that I am a part of something bigger than myself. The Rowe family is large. We've been gathering every summer for the past 30 plus years for a family reunion. And the best way I can describe a Rowe family reunion is it's kind of like the movie My Big Fat Greek Wedding. It's all of these people around, they're sitting at a meal, everyone's talking, everyone's joking, everyone's trying to talk over each other, trying to story over each other, trying to joke louder than the person next to them. It's food, it's family, it's friends, it's laughter, it's paintball games and airsoft and fireworks and just, for me, one of the most wonderful weeks of the year. And more than just a fun week, it really is for me a grounding week because it lets me know kind of who I am. It lets me know where I belong and that I'm a part of family. And so often in the church, it's what we want to know as well. We want to know, do we belong? Am I a part of something? Is there a family for me? And so I get to talk today about John chapter 15. And I love this passage because that's kind of what it's talking about. You see, I decided that I wanted to become a youth pastor when I was in 9th grade. And I think I decided for a couple of different reasons. Number one, I know I decided because I just wanted to go to youth group forever. And if I could find somebody that would pay me to throw dodgeballs at people, I was going to take that job. But number two, I think I went for it, and I don't even know if this was a conscious decision on my part. But in the back of my head, I think I thought that it was the best way that I knew of that I could do good things for God. The kind of good things where God would kind of have to do good things for me. It was really more or less like I was trying to find the best job for God. Like I was an employee of the month for Him. And something about that just isn't eventually satisfying. And so I love this passage because in John 15:15, the disciples are sitting around the table together and Jesus is talking to them and He says, "You are no longer my servants, you are my family, you are my friends," He calls them. And there's something important about that. I mean, imagine, put yourself in the place of the disciples. You spent over 3 years with Jesus. You've been following Him. You've been walking with Him. You've been talking with Him. You wanted to walk like Him. You wanted to talk like Him. You wanted to be like Jesus. He's actually sent you out to do work like He does. And here He sits you down and He looks you in the eyes and He says, "You are no longer my servant. You are my friend." And Hebrews actually takes this a step further. In Hebrews 2:11, it says that Jesus is not ashamed to call us brothers and sisters. We are family. And so the disciples are hearing this. The disciples are elevated to a new level. No longer servants, no longer workers, but family. And we are His disciples today. We are elevated into that as well. So how do I know? I think that's a question for us. How do I know if I am friends with Jesus, if I am family rather than a servant or a worker? Well, He makes it pretty clear. He says, "You are my friend if you do what I command." And His command for them is equally simple. He tells them, what I want you to do is I want you to love one another. Simple. The problem, though, is that our culture has all sorts of confusion when it comes to love. I mean, we're all about love. We sing songs about the fact that all you need is love. We go to movies about notebooks and we cry our eyes out. We love love. But for many, the idea of love kind of ends right where the movie ends. It's some park with an ornamental bridge over a bubbling stream. There's a couple on it in the light rain and they're about to go in for their first kiss. The camera is spinning around them, the music crescendos, and then the credits roll and you feel good. But anyone who's been in love, anyone who's tried to stay in love, anyone who's tried to love someone else for an extended period of time knows you need far more than a good story. You need what Jesus is calling us to in this passage. And what Jesus calls us to in verse 13 is sacrifice. What He says is, "Greater love has no one than he lays down his life for his friends." This kind of love is different. This isn't that kind of puppy dog feeling of love when you first meet someone. This is a daily sacrificial love. This is the kind of love where you would step in front of a moving vehicle for someone, where you would take a bullet for them. But it's more than that. As much as those are sacrifices, that's a one-time thing. And this is a daily sacrificial love. The kind of love where you say, I'll wash the dishes even though I didn't make them. The kind of love where, I'll walk the dog, it's not even my turn, or I'll forgive someone humbly even when they clearly wronged me. That's the kind of love that we're called to. And the thing is, that's much harder. That requires some sort of help. That really does require Jesus. And he knows it. And so earlier in the passage, he had described to them the relationship he wanted to have. He said, I am the vine and you are the branches. And then he said, if you remain in me, I will remain in you. Our job is to remain in Jesus. Basically, what's meant by that is I need to spend time with him. As I spend time with Jesus, his way really becomes my way. His way of life rubs off and becomes my way of life. If I want to be like Jesus, I have to spend time with him. So that is what we are called to as disciples. The disciples at that point were elevated. They were told, you are part of this. You are a friend and not a worker. You are family and not a servant. And today we get to hear the same thing. You are not Jesus' employee. You are not trying to do things so that he will do things for you. You are not trying to earn his favor by good works. You are family, and family gets to sit at the table together. So my question for your group tonight is this. What does it mean to be a part of something that's larger than yourself? What does that mean to you? What would it mean to you if you sat down face to face with Jesus and he looked and he said, don't work for me. You're not my servant. You are my friend. You are my brother and my sister. Think about that for a bit. What does that mean? How does that change the way that you interact with God and with Jesus? How does that change the way you see those around you? Thank you so much for spending some time with me, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.